It's time for Brush Street Beat, presented by our friends at McLaren Health Care. And today's guest is Andy Dirks, former Tiger. First of all, Andy, thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. Pleasure to be here.
It is. It's great to have you. And you played at Wichita State. So we're going to start talking about your baseball career here. And you bounced around a little bit in the minors and you had a fairly short but really successful career here in Detroit. So why don't you talk about your road to get to the Tigers and what your time was like with this organization?
Yeah, so just to keep it brief, because it's a long journey. I talk to a lot of kids about, the journey to the big leagues. Everybody wants to know, what's it like? It's one day at a time. Just keep doing the same things over and over and getting better. For me, junior college, then Wichita State, got drafted as a senior, and then it was low A. Then I had a stint in rookie ball in the GCL, the lowest level we have in America. GCL, low A, double A, triple A, big leagues. They moved me along quickly because I was older. I was 22 when I got drafted, and it's kind of do good or you're gone. There's somebody behind you. And then I remember when I got called up, it was when Maglio broke his ankle. I was in triple A and I was doing well, and Maglio slid into home and broke his ankle. And Phil Nevin was my manager at the time, and he called my hotel room. I think we're in Indianapolis with the Mud Hens, and he said, "You want to go to lunch?" I'm like, that is weird. A manager asking you to lunch, that's just not normal. I said, sure, because I know Nevin, he played in the big leagues. He's got some cash. He'll pick up the tab for a nice lunch. And it was pretty surreal. And I really only played about 3 years, right? Then I had some back surgeries, some serious back injuries that shortened my career. But looking back at the whole thing, it's like, what an opportunity it was, because I'm from a tiny town in Kansas, like middle of nowhere in Kansas. Grew up on a dirt road. My high school had about 300 people in it, 300 and some people. And I grew up 8 miles outside of a town of probably like 1,200 people. So it was a farming community. And then to play in Detroit, and then Detroit liked me, which I thought was cool. The kid from the middle of nowhere in Kansas, in a big metropolitan area, they kind of rallied around me because blue collar, played hard. They liked that, right? Which always thought was cool, and I appreciated from the city.
Andy, you might be from Kansas, but I understand that you have made a home for yourself right here in Detroit. What have you been up to since your baseball career ended?
Yeah, so I married a Bloomfield, so a Michigan girl. We have 4 kids. We just had our fourth kid. We live in Clarkston now, and I sell real estate all over Detroit Metro. I got in real estate pretty much as soon as I had my second back surgery and realized, playing's done. Um, I've really enjoyed it, and it was a new challenge for me. Learning real estate, learning sales, learning what it takes to be successful. And I'm a challenge motivated guy, whether, baseball, now real estate, or raising kids, or marriage. There's so many challenges in life that we're all facing. And I like taking the challenge, and doing as good as I can with the opportunities that I have. I'm like everybody else. I don't want to go to work, and there was days I didn't want to ball field. As crazy as that sounds to people when I tell them that, it's like when we normally play 162, there's days you show up and you're like, the last thing I want to do is put on cleats, pants, and go out there and have to hit 97-mile-an-hour fastball, you know. But those are the things that once you get on the field, they kind of melt. And it's the same way in a lot of things in my life. Once I get into the activity, it's always before I go, it's like, oh, kind of dragging some days. And then, but once I'm in it, it's like, this is it. Yeah, now it's exciting again. So that's always the challenge for me, is to make sure I know once I get there, it's game on, and that's where I enjoy things.
Andy, though, you might have a future in broadcasting. I know that you have done some Tiger games. I know when Jim Price was ailing a little bit. Do you see yourself someday maybe being one of the voices of the Tigers?
You know, I really enjoy it, and I think it would be like doing the radio broadcast. The color guy on radio, that's got to be one of the best jobs in the world. The problem is travel, and I got these young kids, right? So that would be something that would be a big decision for my family as well as me. Selfishly, yeah, let's go. Let's go do it. Let's go around, do the color games. But when I got young kids, I want to be as present as possible for as many days as possible, because I'm going to blink and they're going to be out of my house making their own decisions, right? So I want to make sure I'm taking plenty of time with them. That would be the
You
thing that would keep me from doing it, though.
you said you have 4 kids?
Yeah. Yep.
And
Little. 4,
are
3, 1.5, and a newborn.
oh, so
Oh
very
my
little. I was
gosh.
gonna ask you if any
Very
of them
little.
have gotten into baseball yet, but you've got your hands full with a lot more than baseball right now.
That's right. And for my kids, like when it comes to sports, obviously they're going to do activities. You know, they're going to be, but and me and my wife, that is something we'll walk through like every other parent does. What they're into and what they excel in is probably usually where the kids go. I was always into sports, but I was a good athlete. You know, I was a pretty good athlete. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the competition. I like the dirt of baseball. I like the grass of baseball. I like throwing, hitting. But not every kid's rigged that way. But we want to make sure that with our kids, we give them opportunities in what they enjoy. My son, if you go on my Instagram, I posted a video of him hitting off the tee. It's good. It's good. It's hard to explain, but I laugh at it constantly now. It's one of those videos if I'm like, I'm not having the greatest day, and laugh. So it's good. You should check it out.
I
Well, we
definitely will.
certainly will. Yeah. Hey, I wanted to ask you a little bit about baseball, obviously. I know you played all 3 outfield positions when you were with the Tigers. You're really a versatile player, but I want to jump ahead. In 3 weeks from now, we're going to see baseball. And the Tigers have pitching is the strength of this team. Do you think when baseball begins on the 24th of July that pitchers will be ahead of hitters or hitters will be ahead of pitchers?
I think pitchers will be ahead of hitters. This is a long, long, long layoff for a hitter. Even coming into spring training, you've seen guys that take sometimes 60 games just to get going, hitting wise. A lot of times it takes good hitters, even good ones, to kind of settle in throughout a season. They might be hitting a buck 90 going into the 35th game, and then they're going to catch fire at some point. For the shortened season, it's going to be tough on the hitters and for the pitchers. I think just coming in back into their mechanics. That's the only thing I worry about with pitchers is staying healthy and getting back into their normal routine of throwing. It's going to be a challenge for everybody. I think that this season is going to be completely up in the air, and for a team like the Tigers, I would be so excited to know that we're only doing 60. Nobody's more prepared than anybody else. If it's a rookie or a veteran, nobody's been through this before. Nobody's been through this situation of layover. And it's like, for a team like the Tigers, I would be so excited to know all we have to do is be hot for 60 games, boys. All we have to do is be hot. Just start the season hot for just 2 months of baseball, and we can be in a playoff, right? It's amazing. It's a huge opportunity for a team like us right now.
When you look at baseball coming back, 60-game schedule, with all of that combined, and looking back at your career, do you think that you just said it's an advantage maybe for the Tigers because of their pitching, but they're a really pretty young baseball team, and they do have some veterans in there that these guys are so inexperienced that they're just going to go in there and play a game that they love and have fun and let the chips fall where they may, which might be the exact mindset to have during a 60-game schedule.
Yeah, absolutely. Just get after it. There's no like holding back with a 60-game schedule. Get ready in spring training. There's no, I didn't, the last 2 games haven't been going well, but we'll kind of get out of the funk. Now, if you lose 5 games in a row in a 60-game season, it's a big deal. If you lose 5 games in a row in a 162-game season, the media might say, whoa, but as players, it's like, we might go on a 10-game win streak at some point, so it balances out. Here, it's like, if you go on a 10-game win streak, that's a 1/6 of your season already. That's huge, So I think the way that managers are going to manage is going to be different because the wins are more important. The win for that day is more important than I need to save my bullpen for the next week and a half, the 2-week stretch. It's going to be it's going to be a baseball, and I think we're going to see a sloppier game in the beginning, which is kind of normal anyway going into a season. But a few more errors that players normally probably wouldn't make, and And I think that we'll probably see some guys play really well, some no-name guys that all of a sudden kind of have some superstardom. Because in the short season, you got to remember, at the All-Star, sometimes there's guys that are hitting like 395, 400 almost in 60 games. And if that's considered a whole season, going into the next season, there's going to be players you never heard of that we're going to be expecting the moon from that just tank, when you get back into a regular season again. So be on guard for that as fans and as media and as the people watching. Keep a level head about it and enjoy it, right? Because that's what we need to do right now is enjoy these games that these guys are going to play. You see what happens when we don't have sports? Chaos, right? So let's get sports back. Let's bring some happiness and some enjoyment back into the communities. But those are my thoughts on it.
Like pretty much everything that's going on right now, I think this baseball season is going to be unpredictable, which is really cool. It's going to be a lot of fun to see how everything plays out. But unfortunately, Andy, that's all the time we have today. Thank you so much for joining us. It was great to catch up with you. And a big thank you to McLaren Health System for presenting Brush Street Beat this week and every week right here on the Word on Woodward.